Hello, welcome back to our channel, Buffalo First Wealth Management with Alan Dembski and Juliana Janson. Today we're going to continue our conversation of child savings accounts. Last video we did was on the Trump account. So we're going to talk about a few other accounts that people can do, whether it's 529, UGMA account, or a brokerage account. So we'll talk a little bit about those and some pros and cons of each, and hopefully people start to get a better understanding what avenues they have for children as your child grows and as you want to save that extra birthday money and Christmas money going forward, or first communion or whatever it might be.
So the big kahuna is probably 529. That's what we hear the most people asking us about, and there's a lot of discussion about it. And they're definitely a good option for people. Basically, the way the 529 plan works, and it was named after like a lot of things, like 401ks, it's named after the section of the tax law. Basically, this allows parents, grandparents, other family members to actually put money aside for a child for purposes of their education. Mm-hmm. And in some cases, there are a lot of options of where you can put these funds, but each state typically has their own fund that they manage in conjunction with a custodian. So for instance, in New York State, it's Vanguard is the company that manages it. If you put the funds in the state that is aligned with in the fund family that is aligned with your state, then in the case of New York, and in some cases of other states as well, you will get a deduction on your state taxes. So it's definitely one of the pros. The other pro for everyone is that the funds grow tax-free. So you're in some cases getting a state tax deduction, and then the funds are then growing free. If you have multiple children and multiple accounts, and one child is not going to college and one child is going to college, you can move the money from beneficiary to beneficiary, which is nice because who knows what's going to happen in the future. The downside, one of the pros, is if you don't use the money for education, there is a 10% penalty on the earnings, and there also you have to pay taxes on it. Basically, it's no longer, the withdrawals are no longer tax-free. Whereas if you leave it in, it grows tax-free, and then when you take it out, you don't have to pay taxes on the amounts that are being used for education.
The government wants their share of money.
Always, always.
So on the 529, I will add there is one other one, just in case you're watching in New York. It's a JP Morgan advisor plan. So there are two approved in New York. Not every state has approved plans. Not everyone knows that to get that deduction in New York, you have to use one of the state approved plans. And you can't be in New York and expect your tax deduction when you're investing in, let's say, the American Funds Virginia plan off the top of my head. I have family in Virginia, so that's why I knew that state plan. But the other types of accounts are custodial or minor accounts called UGMAs, which are Uniform Gift to Minor accounts, or ACT is what the real name is. And then later on, they developed an UTMA account, or Uniform Transfer to Minors Act. So UGMA and UTMA are one and the same, just a little bit of variations between the two. We're not going to get into all those variations today, but they are custodial accounts set up in your child's name. So age of majority in New York, not every state is the same. So if you're watching in a different state, look at your state tax rules and majority. In New York, it's 21 years old. So if they're under that age, you can set up a custodial account in your name with them as the minor in that account. The real advantage to that is, one, you can pick really any investments if they're eligible in that custodian's platform. Two, any of the capital gains and interest and dividends are taxed at the child's rate, which is usually a lot favorable than mom and dad's. So you do have some advantages there. The money can be distributed, but it has to be in the benefit of the minor, of course. The real biggest downside to a minor account is once that child hits that age of majority, guess what? Mom and dad have nothing to do with it anymore. that child takes that money and can do whatever they want by law. It is their money. So if you've been saving for years, there's $20,000-$30,000. As soon as that child hits 30 or 21 years old, money's theirs. Mom and dad, you can't really do anything about that. And some people don't like that. And that's the biggest con to an UTMA or UGMA, because let's face it, we don't know what our kids are going to be like in 15, 20 years when they hit the age of majority. We hope that we raise them correctly, but that doesn't mean that they won't spend the money if they get it in their pocket.
And, along those lines, the third option for people that are saving for their kids' education is to put it in a parental brokerage account. And this is going to give you the maximum amount of flexibility. I think my personal opinion is in 2026, we really don't know what our work world and what our education system is going to look like in 18 years. Things are changing so fast and so furious that it might make more sense in some instances to keep it in a taxable parental brokerage account so you have the maximum flexibility to use it in the best way for your child when they get to be 18 or 21.
The downside, though, is, again, we talked about an UTMA account where we get a little bit of favorable tax treatment. In a parental brokerage account, any of the dividends and interest are taxed at mom and dad's income rate for that year. But the flexibility is a lot greater because you can use it for whatever you want. You're not restricted when you can take it out, how much you can put in, what you have to invest in. You have a lot of flexibility as well.
Yeah, and the investment options, like you were talking about for UTMAs and UGMA, that's you have unlimited, basically, investment options for you when you put it in a parental brokerage.
And just like we talked about with a 529, taxes are inevitable. So whatever type of account is best for you and your family, you have to, go through all those scenarios. How much are we going to have to pay? What are we using that for? Again, talking to your financial advisor about what your goals are for that money and what you would like to use it for your children.
Right. And taxes are only one piece of the puzzle. Definitely.
Absolutely. So hopefully you learned something from our video today. If you want to hear additional comments on UGMA's 529's brokerage, feel free to reach out. We'll love to have those conversations with you. Thanks. And until next time, Al Dembski and Juliana Janson, Buffalo First.